Our world is shifting at a breathtaking pace. I don't know if you noticed this as you watch the news. And the conditions we see today are shaping the perfect stage for what the scriptures call the time of tribulation, or the day of the Lord, as we will see in the book of Joel. According to the prophet Daniel, this time will last 7 years, a period of unparalleled conflict between nations, and like anything the world has ever witnessed. But this brings us to a vital question now. What will ignite the coming 7-year period as we are now? Which prophecy, once fulfilled, will set it in motion? According to Daniel chapter 9 verse 27, this period will be set in motion with a confirmation of a covenant, a security pact between a dominant world power and the nation of Israel. And why would Israel need to seek such a treaty of peace and protection? This is when we begin to realize that this period is not far from today. Look closely at the times in which we live. The nations of the world are rallying against this small piece of land that is Israel, throwing accusation of oppression, apartheid, starvation, and even the deliberate killing of children. Charges often built on distorted and fabricated reports. Furthermore, day by day, acts of anti-Semitism are escalating across the globe. I see them almost every single day in the news, that is. And now nations such as Canada, France, Ireland, Spain, and England, who were before this friends of Israel, are now pressing for the recognition of a Palestinian state without showing much concern about the survival of Israel. Today we are coming very close to the time when Israel would need such a security treaty. But yet, I want to tell you what is striking is that in the midst of all this turmoil, we hear talks of peace in the Middle East. How can peace with Israel be discussed while at the same time voices call for Israel's destruction? These behind the scenes actions align perfectly with what scriptures foretold. Daniel the prophet also indicates that first part of the coming 7-year tribulation period will be one of prosperity and seeming peace, and today we see traces of this coming peace in the Middle East. Let me give you some information that is not so publicized today. These past weeks, Israel has signed its largest gas deal amounting to $35 billion with who? With Egypt. Israel has a massive offshore natural gas field in the Mediterranean Sea called the Leviathan. Also, these past few weeks, peace treaty talks between Syria and Israel are ongoing. Last Tuesday, Syria's foreign minister confirmed that it held a rare meeting with an Israel delegation in Paris. The talks were brokered by the United States, who have been pushing for Syria and Israel to normalize relationships. Now, furthermore, the United States has been pushing for the continuity of the Abraham Accords, attempting to bring peace between Muslim countries and Israel. 4 countries, as we have mentioned before, have signed already: United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Morocco, Sudan. And according to Trump, others such as Syria, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia will soon follow. Isn't it strange that we have these two almost contradictory pieces of news? On the one side, the world is turning against Israel, Jews and Israel. But on the other, there are economic negotiation, peace talks, and even plans made toward the rebuilding of the third temple in Jerusalem. But this is precisely how Daniel the prophet predicted the situation will be at the end. And we're coming closer and closer to this moment. And Ezekiel as well. In Ezekiel 38, there's going to be an attack, and he says, but they are in peace. Their borders are opened. This is what the prophecy says as far as Daniel is concerned, 9:27. And he said, that is the coming world leader John called the Antichrist, will make a firm covenant with the many for 7 years. But in the middle of the week, that is in the middle of the 7 years, he will put a stop to sacrifice and grain offering. Remember this because Joel is going to mention this. And so he comes first on a white horse, just like we see in Revelation 6, pretending peace. Then in the middle of the 7 years, war will be unleashed all over the world. The last 3.5 years are confirmed by John in the book of Revelation, which speaks of wars lasting 42 months, 1260 days, which is exactly 3.5 years according to the Hebrew calendar. And John also sees the world as in a heightened state of riches and prosperity just before the wars begin. This we see in Revelation 18. This then explains how can we have such peace in the Middle East when at the same time the nations of the world are raging against Israel. But beyond these things, and we mentioned this before, and I want to stress this because there's more information about it. Beyond these things, there's some great news as well, which I want to share. The Lord is at work in a most wonderful way. I want to tell you this. This time I want to bring you to Gaza. I hear that more and more people from this tiny strip are coming to a saving knowledge of Yeshua. How is this happening, by the way? Because it is so difficult to openly proclaim the word in these regions. God himself is breaking through in extraordinary ways. We hear of reports from Gaza about those who are encountering Jesus, Yeshua, through dreams and vision again. One powerful testimony comes from Taisir Saada, a former PLO sniper who became a follower of Yeshua and later a Christian leader, someone that I have met personally. Last year in an interview with CBN, he shared that just last year, there were 200 Gazans who reported seeing Yeshua in dreams and vision, leading them to a saving knowledge, eternal faith in Yeshua. This is wonderful, by the way, I want to tell you. And this is not an isolated account. Other ministry confirmed the same phenomenon, not only in Gaza, but across the world, as Mission Network News declared. We are seeing Muslims encountering dreams and vision of Jesus all over the world, they say. But let me share something as remarkable, and this I believe is new. I've heard similar testimonies among religious Jews now. It is nothing less than amazing that they are Haredi Jews, an ultra-Orthodox group, even more than 10 who can be accounted for, and who knows how many more, that have either accepted Yeshua or are in the process of inquiring to know about him. You know, this is a miracle. The other miracle is that we see in the evangelical team that religious Jews are taking the New Testament home. This is new, by the way. We've been doing this for years. This is just happening this year, really. And we also hear of dreams and visions are the means by which many of those are having their encounter among the Jewish religious people. Again, this is wonderful news. Let's not forget that the tribulation times will not only be a time of judgment, will also be a time of great revival. And the first sign of that revival are already appearing as the signs of the tribulations are also appearing. And so these two dimensions, judgment and restoration, stand at the very heart of end-time prophecy, and nowhere is this more vividly proclaimed than in the book we're studying, the book of Joel, where both aspects are revealed with much power and so much urgency.